Okay, the purpose of the mastermind is to learn leadership, build teams, create multiple sources of income together.
We are here to inspire and challenge each other to reach and exceed goals.
I think, Carly, can you mute yourself? Because there's an echo.
Okay, hang on.
Or use a headset, that's easier than this one.
Really?
Each member
It's
is
in my
committed
handbag.
to their own
Okay, let me
success.
see if I can mute myself.
Each member is committed to their own success as well as the success of every member of the group.
We are committed to meeting in person or virtually for 1 hour every week.
We are present. There's no multitasking or distractions during meetings.
We're collaborative.
Lisa?
We listen. I was already speaking. Shut up. We are collaborative. We listen without interrupting, lecturing, or judging.
We celebrate each other's successes without jealousy.
We are honest and participate by giving thoughtful feedback.
We are open and listen to different perspectives without being defensive or offering excuses.
We trust fellow members enough to share fully.
Wolfgang?
Was now in red? I didn't hear it, so sorry. We are focused, but we are also think it's important to have fun during meetings.
We are real and authentic. This is a no BS zone.
We allow ourselves to become completely aligned with each other and the high forces, one mind, one soul, one love. Oh, you're muted,
You're
Kelly.
muted,
Sorry. I'm not used to doing all the bits at once. So thank you for letting me run the one tonight so that I can practice for the future.
Well, I want to acknowledge you, Callie, for stepping up. We were asked if any of us would step up, and Callie was first off the. That was, well, I was still trying to decipher the message because it was a bit of a garbled message. But yeah, so Callie stepped up to host the mastermind today. So well done, Callie. Good on you for stepping into your power.
Thank you. So because I only decided about 15 minutes before, I don't actually have a question. And if Lisa has one that she wants to bring, or someone else, if anyone here has something that has bothered them this week that they would love to share to kick off this mastermind, something that's either bothered them in their personal internal integrity or in the community, whatever would be something you'd love to share. So you, Semi?
Okay, yesterday I had a breakdown. I had a breakdown because the day before I had to do like a challenge or in a training. I had to connect to people and really ask them about their lives and how they're doing, and really try to find connection. But as I was looking into my phone and the lists of people I wrote down, there was actually no one I wanted to connect to like that. No one. And not even all my 600, 700 friends on Facebook. I didn't want to connect with anyone. And that hit me that I've been lone wolfing for like forever, and I keep everyone like at a safe distance because I want to keep the peace instead of really connecting to them and being authentic. I was really hiding. And yeah, I realized how painful that was, and I've been grieving. And now it's time to rebuild my connections.
Thank you. That's beautiful. That's really appreciated. Has anyone else felt that disconnect in their connections this week that would like to go further with this? Wolfgang?
Well, what I realized in the last 20 years that people left my life and I had to let them go because it didn't fit to me anymore. And I had to reconnect to new people. And I recently, within the last 3 years, when I really started this third round of working on myself, every time it's a clearing, people have to go and new people are coming. And I want to see it that way. People are leaving, and when they are going through some process and it fits again, it will come together and we will not have to really discuss what happened because it's a new level where we understand each other in a complete new way, which wasn't there before. So I know exactly what you're talking about. I have a lot of people I know from the past and I have no wish to connect to them. It's completely okay for me. And my new ways, I mean, the amazing thing, the people in the past were close, physically close. What happens today through Zoom, through Corona, through all that stuff, I'm not limited to local contacts, because when I look at my local contact here, I'm living in a Serbian village. I honestly don't see anyone, besides I'm not speaking the language so deeply, so I really can talk to them in the depth I want. But there is not anyone I see and feel like I would, otherwise I would speak the language more better because it would be worse to learn it. And if it's there, I will learn Serbian in just like that. So through online, through Zoom, like these masterminds, I have the feeling I connect to people who are actually ready to go in this depth, so I don't have to select or go through some process. And that's actually a big gift. That's wonderful. Thank you all for being here.
Beautiful. Thank you, Wolfgang. I can feel your inspired connection through that. Like I can feel the joy of you even saying all that connection underneath internally is a joy, because you get inspired by whomever you do connect with, and then
yes,
that's like a ripple effect for family and everything to have that.
But there is something I would like to add. It's like it wasn't always like that. I was struggling. It was a process to finding out that it's not to accept or not accept, that it was the path I had to go. But I was struggling, so I'm very ambitious with you, Sammy. Finding that out yesterday is like a hammer, but you will go through it soon. I mean, and it's worth it to change.
Beautiful.
Thank you both of you for that. Sorry, Callie.
You go, Lisa. You're next.
Yeah, there was so much there. Sammy, I resonate. We've been playing Lone Wolves much longer than you have. And I did a program with T. Harv Eker a few years ago called Enlightened Warrior Training, and something that became very obvious to me, and it was like a bit of a slap, was that I give of myself very generously to very many people across the surface, but I don't go deep. I don't go deep with those connections. And I really feel that this year has been about connections, and the more isolated we've become, the more we are connecting. And I think what Wolfgang said just there is that we're connecting with people, the right people, the people who are on our connection level. It's not something we need to go and do. It's just something we just look here, you know, and all these different masterminds. And I actually this morning, because I've said that these masterminds are like soul food to me. So they're no longer masterminds, they're soul food cafes. Okay. So we go there. Because we're automatically connecting, and particularly through NG, we're connecting with those people who are on our frequency. So I'm not having to connect, and I'll give Auntie and myself as a absolute classic example. I mean, we met through Mind Valley, didn't have a lot to do with each other. We were on a coaching thing together, and Auntie had a problem. I said, oh, I think I've got a solution. I showed her NG, and I'd only just signed up myself. And something just clicked. And we have, I would say that over the last few months, and particularly since we've been doing untraining and we've got a little bit more focus together, I would say that we are connected on a much deeper level than I've been connected with anybody for a long time. I don't know whether you agree, Antje. It just feels like we can, I mean, we connect nearly every day. I never do that. I mean, I'm doing that with my daughter for the first time in her life, really. And she loves it because I see her every day. But that's not my style. That's not how I normally function. It just happens that while I'm stuck in the UK, she lives just across the road. So it just makes sense that if I'm cooking dinner, I cook for all of us. So I get to see her every day. But that is not something I've ever done. So even with my own family, I'm not connected. And with my own family, I'm probably more disconnected than I am with anybody because we're on such different planets. You know, and I'm sure most of us are aware, and I know Rose has had some experience of this, that we sort of landed in our family. It's like, whose family is this? It's not mine. We're so different. Don't belong in this family. And yet now, look at this, through technology, through COVID, through isolation, those connections are getting deeper. I know Wolfgang and I have had some really awesome connections through Mind Valley. Trudy and I had some amazing connections when Trudy was a client of mine. We both lived in Port Hedland. But there's something different now. Something is shifted, and those connections they're not something I'm having to think about. They're not something I'm saying, oh, I want those connections. I did know earlier this year, when it was obvious I wasn't getting back to Bali, that I needed to surround myself with people who could help keep me more positive. And then NG arrived. So thank you, universe, for acknowledging that order. But yeah, I think, and I'm now ready, I feel, to go deeper with my connections. So maybe not quite as wide, but deeper. Or maybe it is still as wide, but I can go deeper with those that I want to. So yeah, it's really interesting. And it's all an energy. And I love the people that I am connecting with now, on this mastermind, on the other masterminds, in my soul food cafes. And and yeah, so I hear you, Sammy, and I hear you, Wolfgang. Certainly resonate with both of you very much.
Thanks for sharing that. And Sammy, I would say congratulations for the breakdown, because you're right where you need to be. I mean, you've done such an awesome transformation, not only the last month, but the last week, you know, and it's been building up even before, you know, we met. And it's a natural progression. It's like when you move house, you throw out stuff. And it's when we take our blinkers off, you know, then very often we judge, and we judge ourselves in a negative way. Why didn't we see this before? How could we not see this? How could we allow this? But you connected with these people for a reason, from the level of consciousness and wisdom and understanding that you had at the time, and they served their purpose, and it was great. So in order to make this breakdown easier into the breakthrough, just bless them. Just bless them and thank them for the time that they were in your life. And don't just be kind to yourself. You know, they were there for a reason. I mean, since moving to Sweden, I still have contact with some South Africans, you know, obviously because they're really close, but others have fallen away, and they were good when I was there. But now we don't have, you know, it's not the depth of connection that I'm looking for. And then it's okay to let them go. There's no need to hang on for the sake of hanging on. It's the same with relationships with boyfriends and husbands and whatever, and with children, we let them go at the end of the day. And it's brilliant. It's a natural progression of your development, because we become the average of the 5 people that we want to hang out with. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you're surrounded by 6 people, you know, 6 awesome people. And if you need to contact somebody to build a connection, just give me a call. Okay. So, I mean, you've got lots of people here that you can ask questions about life and things like that. So I think it's brilliant. Congratulations. And to Wolfgang, I'm so glad that he's also not speaking as Serbian as I should be speaking Swedish, because quite frankly, I have got no desire. Everybody speaks English and I know the basics, and it's just like, why would I want to connect with these people that don't want to connect with me? Seriously. so makes me feel so much better, because we should, you know, we should speak the language. But anyway, so I think it's awesome. I think it's absolutely awesome. So be kind to yourself and just ride the waves. You will have, in no time, you'll have 600 people on your Facebook list that you love deeply.
Thank you. And did you have an experience of a personal nature of disconnect, Anshin, before we move to Wolfgang? Did you have a personal connection that you've ever
this week or in general?
This week or in general, either like a personal experience of how you resolved that for yourself.
I mean, obviously in the past, because I've also been, most times in my life, you know, I would think that people just don't get me, you know. So how do I deal with it? I just let them go, because it's not their fault that they don't get me. It's nobody's fault, in fact, that they don't get me. It's just whether you drink water or orange juice. It's a matter of taste. So I just let it be. I'm actually quite relaxed about this, because yeah, of course it bothers me sometimes. Everybody wants to be liked, you know, but at the end of the day, it's not the end of the world. You know, it's okay to let people go. I'm actually very good with that. And this week, no, nothing really that stands out this week. I mean, my daughter's birthday was yesterday, so there's lots of loving connection. So I'm feeling very connected at the moment.
Beautiful, thank you. And Wolfgang, did you want to add to that or something? Share?
Actually, I just want to tell you how I envy you all with all your peace around you. I want to show you I got occupied. From my son, he brought all the toys, so I try to look like undisturbed as possible.
So you've got extra connection while we're connecting. Beautiful. And Rosa or Trudy, would you like to go next? Trudy?
Well, I'll go next then, seeing Rose is just sitting there thinking still. Yeah, just sitting there listening to everyone talk. And it's just like, yeah, pretty interesting since I've been here over a year now. And even in my past, you know, it's like I'm the one who makes the phone calls to all my friends. And I'm thinking, you know, like, why should I have to be the one that calls them all the time? And I thought, yeah, maybe I should just let them all go, you know, cut the ties. There's 3,000, I don't know, 4,000 miles between us. So they're adrift over on that island over there where some of yous are. One of you are, Carla. Yeah, so yeah, it's interesting that I have probably, whether it's a disconnection or just there's no connection there, you know, or I feel that I'm the one who's always, you know, putting the line, not necessarily a lifeline or putting the line out, you know, to have that connection. So, and yeah, even probably a reason why I did join the Mastermind as well, you know, because, well, I've moved from Audipur to Kerala. I've moved south for the winter, so I'm about to start a whole new thing, because in Udaipur there was, I think, 6 Australians, a Scottish, a couple of English, but yeah, now I'm here just with one other Australian, you know, so. And you're talking about languages, you can't learn language in India because you go from state to state and it changes. So I'm doing a little bit of Hindi. Now I'm in Malayalam country and I have no idea what the words are. So, But yeah, like you say, some places do speak a lot of English. So there's a lot of English being spoken here. Like this morning, I went out to get some veggies off the veggie cart, and these ladies are just buying heaps of coconuts. And, you know, I just kind of asked the silly question, why are you buying so many coconuts? And they just spoke to me in English, you know, so it was pretty cool. So yeah, you know, connections come and go.
Thank you.
That's one of the reasons why the English don't speak any other languages, because nearly everybody speaks English, and it makes us very, very lazy. And I'm very envious of all you Europeans who are all bi and even trilingual or more. And it's something I wish was taught more in schools at an earlier age, so it becomes part of who we are, because then we've got even better connections. I just wanted to talk to something that was said earlier on, and about 4 years ago, before I started traveling, I suddenly found people who I thought were in my life forever. There'd be an argument, or there would be something that happened, and all of a sudden those people would just not be part of my life anymore. And it was really interesting, because with every single one of them, it was like, okay, it wasn't a dreadful thing. I mean, there's people, and I still keep in touch with them. I know that whatever I've done to piss them off is, sorry, Rosa, whatever I've done to upset them is I don't know what I've done to upset them, but I clearly have. But I still send messages because I have no ill will towards them. But these were people that I stayed with every time I went down to Perth, and I thought of them as my Aussie parents. And it was just really funny. Well, they're not Aussies, they're English, but it was, yeah, just all of a sudden that relationship was over. But it felt okay. It didn't feel like, oh my God, this is terrible. It just felt okay. And I was aware of lots of relationships that just either disappear into the ether, or just haven't, there's no need to maintain them. You know, nature, the universe will take out those people that we don't need in one form or another. So yeah, it was a really interesting experience, and I've experienced it since then. But it was, yeah, just I had a couple of things, that people that I thought were going to be in my life forever, and then just suddenly, over something that to me is inconsequential because I don't even know what it is, which I think is what allowed me to acknowledge that it actually had nothing to do with me, and this was just like, it's okay to leave them where they're at. They're not, they're not coming on my journey with me, and that's okay. But yeah, it's quite interesting how it all pans out, how these relationships suddenly end. And I was actually talking to a girl the other day, and she was saying that she had a friend who they've been friends for a long time, done a lot of stuff together, and then all of a sudden she's done something that this other person didn't like, and that's the end of the relationship. And she said, I don't know what to do about it. And I said, well, the universe is clearly saying to you, it's time to move on, and she's not part of your journey to come forward. And I do like you've probably heard the analogy of life is a train, and you get on the train, there's people already on the train, and you spend time with those people on the train, and then you come to stations, and some people will get off the train and some people will get on the train. And it just really helps to acknowledge that, oh, they've just got off at that station, or somebody else has just got on at that station. And it just helps me put it into perspective, I guess.
Thank you, Lisa. That was perfect. And would Rosa love to share anything about her wisdom and connection?
Don't know about wisdom. I just agree with like what Lisa was saying. Life is like a train. Some people get on and some people get off. And I always believe that people come into your life when you need them the most and go when you don't need them. Nanny McPhee's a brilliant one, isn't it? What she says, when you need me but don't want me, I'm there, but when you want me to stay but don't need me, I have to go. And I think that's a massive one in life. Through my life, I've always been a bit different to the rest of my family. I've always been the tomboy in the girls, and always wanted to go down different avenues. So I've spent my life not disagreeing, but always trying to stand up for myself and what I believe in and where I want to go. In my first marriage, my two sister-in-laws, they had their hair a certain way, they wore certain makeup, and they couldn't understand why I didn't. But I refused to be led down that path because that was not me. And it's amazing when you start to stand up for who you truly are and who you believe you are, the people that are not definitely not connected with you just become on the, like, for me it was the exterior of my life, but the people that resonated with me and understood me have stayed with me all the time. But you don't, I think unless you get involved into something like this mastermind, I don't think you really understand what's going on. Because quite a few times I've come on this mastermind calls and I'm thinking that a question will be thrown out and I'm thinking, I haven't got a clue, not a clue. And this is why sometimes I like to sit back and listen to what everybody else is saying. I think, oh yeah, that's happened to me. Yeah, I get that. And I think that's the beauty of it, isn't it? Is we think everybody else is fine and it's not happening to anybody else, but it is. And I think if you live true to yourself and be honest, then other people outside see that. And those that think, oh God, Rosa's gone through that, I'll go and talk to Rosa. Whereas if you put this false exterior, everybody, people that really want to connect can't connect because you're not being you. That's the way I feel.
Beautiful, thank you. Lots of wisdom in your share. Thank you.
Yeah, she's full of wisdom. She just doesn't know it.
Yeah.
Something that came up for me then is that we can have connection at different levels. I hear people saying, oh, you've got to get rid of the negative people in your life. You've got to get rid of whatever. And for a lot of us, that's family. And whilst that might be ideal, it's not very practical. And it generally doesn't work in the world that we live in. And what has really come up for me this year is that it's learning to just accept where people are at and the part that has in your life. So they might not be the ones that support you, or they might support you in ways that don't feel like support. And we don't have to have this deep connection with everybody. So there's different levels of connection, and it's okay to be connected to those people who maybe we don't feel are supporting our growth, and yet ironically they are, because they're the ones who are teaching us something, either how we don't want to be or whatever. But we don't have to cut them off, you know. So we don't only have to have pure connections, we can have connections at different levels. It's just about understanding that, okay, that's where that sits and that's where that sits. You know, if you've got kids, I mean, Wolfgang, you'll know, Antje's got kids, Rosa, you've had kids, Callie, you've had kids. When they're at different ages, you need to talk to them differently. You don't talk to a teenager the way you talk to a 2-year-old, well, and maybe a 3-year-old you do, but you know what I mean? You don't talk at different ages. They need to be spoken to differently. And you can have 2 kids, but if they've got a couple of years apart, you know, all of a sudden one of them is in a different level, and you can't talk to them the way you did talk to them before. But it doesn't make your connection better or worse. It's just different. So we need to be able to adapt to our connection with other people and allow that to flow a bit, like, you know, on a water level thing that just goes with wherever it needs to go, rather than say, oh, it has to be this. So I think there's a bit of I think we're shooting ourselves in the foot by saying, oh, we've got to get rid of all negative people. I think part of the journey, and I came across this earlier this year, not that long ago actually, with somebody called Cheryl Ladd. I don't know if you follow her. But she channels and she says the problem is we've become so positive that we're not willing to deal with the negative. Well, first of all, there is no negative until we decide it's negative. But then she says what we need to be doing if we really want to grow is we need to embrace the negative, not hide it, get away from it, all the stuff we've been doing. And I was guilty of that. I was like, I can't cope with this negative. I've got to stay positive. Well, no, it's not. It's actually embracing that. And everybody we have a connection to, we're connected to for a reason. And whilst we might not see the lesson, usually those that we don't think belong in our lives are the ones that are teaching us the greatest skill sets of all. So yeah, just wanted to throw that out there, that, you know, there's different levels of connections.
Yeah, for me it was because I I started this journey, and my family thinks that it's weird, and they're like talking behind my back to my mom, and so there is a disconnect, because I probably didn't explain to them what was going on. It's also my responsibility, not only theirs, but I didn't fully explain what I was going through and what I'm doing. So maybe I should clear things up with that too. And I have keep them always on the surface, so they know the surface, but they don't know the deeper connection, the deeper what's going on. So I think I need to clear up the mess, clean up the mess I made.
Exactly, Lisa, great. Maybe it doesn't even matter. Don't clean up the mess. You know, when people talk behind your back, then, you know, it's behind your back for a reason. And what other people tell about or think and say about us is actually none of our business. What I want to add here is that it's the common misconception that when we are authentic and vulnerable and open, then we're weak. But this is where our strength lies. This is where the strength lies, to be open and being authentic. And somehow in this really weird world, we grow up and always think we need to be on our guards and we need to protect ourselves. To protect ourselves from what? You know, what? From what actually? You know, from somebody if you rationally think about what are we protecting ourselves from, we protect ourselves from the rain by putting on a jacket or using an umbrella, but you cannot protect yourself from people. It's not necessary, because when you're with an open heart and in your vulnerable space, that is when you're most powerful, because nobody can get to you, because you are in congruency and you are within yourself. But somehow we're missing that point, you know, for some other reason. And the more we come back to it, the easier I think it actually becomes for me to just let go of people, because ultimately I'm my best friend, because I'm always there when I need a friend. I'm always with me. And Lisa, of course. and Lisa is my alter ego. See, Lisa is my higher self, okay, that comes in and swoops in and hits me over the head to say, get a reality check, girl. So, you know, but you get the drift, all right? Just, I've said this before, and I really, really like that in the English language, since I'm so able to speak more than one language, since I'm not English. So sorry, I just had to throw that in. The English, they've got me, myself, and I love that. And that's a trinity, me, myself, and I. That's the three musketeers against the world. And when me, myself, and I are best friends and are happy, then the world is good. And who cares about the rest? No. I mean, I don't mean to offend people, but I do it on a regular basis. But I don't mean to. And at the end of the day, it's their issue, it's not mine, because I know from what place I'm coming from. And if somebody's nose gets out of joint, ultimately it's not my issue. If I want to insult you, then you will know, okay? But it's not my nature. It's, yeah. So much for connections.
That was awesome, I must say. Thank you for sharing. And to me, that is the perfect connection with yourself. Like befriending yourself, standing up for yourself, showing up for yourself, expressing on behalf of yourself. Those are the connections that create the connections with others, because you come across authentic, you come across as in self-love, self-value, self-worth, and the other people want that for themselves, and they are curious and connect with you because they are curious on how you do it, even if they're not thinking that. They just know that there's something about you that's courageous, love yourself, and have this connection, and they want that for themselves, and they want to be around that kind of person so that you can grow together. There's no need to be behind the scenes talking about that person, because they're just what you want. And if you were talking about them behind the scenes, it's just because you still want what they've got. It's
That's
just
right.
a jealousy or an envy, but all
they're behind us. That's why they're talking behind our back. They want
Yeah.
what we've got.
And if you're fully in that power of that, you know, loving yourself that much, the right people will come, and the right connections that you've truly, your heart really desires. And that's what I love about these masterminds, because everyone on here wants that for themselves. They really want connection, and connection that values them. And that's why they came on here in the first place, because they value time with others and connection and love, self-love.
That's awesome, Callie. And I think linking back to what Anta said is that, you know, the best connection is the connection with ourselves, and most of us don't have a connection with ourselves. And I think that's what I love about these soul food cafes, is that people who come on to here do have that connection with themselves. So I've just put a PDF copy of my book, Finding the Gorgeous in You, which gives you all sorts of exercises to do exactly that, to get to know you, to love you, to find. It's a very easy read. This is fun playtime exercises to do in there. But if anybody wants it, feel free to download it and use it. But it's all about that. Everything you were talking about, Callie, that's what the book is about. It's about finding that trinity that Auntie was on about, that me, and I haven't got my rings on. I normally wear 3 commitment rings, and it's 3 because it's me, myself, and I. So that trinity, and I wear them, and they put, the first one is every day I promise to support us, because it's a trinity, mentally, emotionally, physically, financially. The second one is a promise to love, cherish, honor, and respect who we are. And the third one is to bring joy and fun into our lives. And I don't know why I haven't got them on this morning, but yeah, I usually put those on as a commitment I make to myself. And I talk about that in the book, but there's some fun stuff in the book. So have a play and see what you think.
Thank you. Yes, I love what you just said, Lisa, about the commitment to yourself, because it's like committing to our internal connection of those things, like the joy, the respect, the value of self, and that vibration brings the same kind of people that resonate with that vibration into your life. Even if it looks like that's not going to happen, it will eventually. Like, you keep committing to yourself, loving yourself, committing to that, valuing self, and eventually the right people will come. And by the sounds of it, that's how a lot of us got here, because we're the right vibration for each other, to be vulnerable with each other, show up and share our truth and really connect with each other. And that's the beauty of this group and this evening and the masterminds. Does anyone else wish to share anything that they're grateful for their connection?
I just want to say that the mind is a magnet. If you go into Hollywell's book about the laws of success, it clearly says your mind is a magnet, and that's why like attracts like, and that's the law of attraction. And I'm super grateful for NG, for this community. When I was in my 20s, a friend of mine, his favorite pickup line to the girls would be, you know, there's no intelligent conversation in this town. And then he instantly sparks off a conversation. I mean, he had girlfriends of note. Okay. So, but it always stuck with us because we would tease him about it, you know, and there is no intelligent conversation in my town, to be quite honest. But the Noble Goldman community, that is connection, and I'm super grateful for that. That is what makes my heart sing, and what gets me thinking and inspired and masterminding. I mean, how many breakthroughs and food for ideas do you get on these masterminds that stay longer than after Zoom is finished? And that's the power of masterminding. And we couldn't possibly, I mean, when you live in a town, then sometimes you have 1 or 2 friends like this. And here we've got 6, sometimes we've got 10, sometimes there's even more. You know, how freaking awesome is that to have this pool of wisdom available? I would have never found Wolfgang in his Serbian little village there if it wasn't for, or Sammy on a little island there, you know. I probably would have bumped into Lisa on some other airport at some stage, you know, but seriously. So I'm super grateful for that.
Beautiful, thank you. Would anyone else like to share what they're grateful for their connection at any part of their life or with what they're doing at the moment?
Well, I am very grateful for the breakdown I had, because now I get to break through, and I'm very happy and grateful that I connect with you guys, because I get to share what's on my heart, and I get feedback from you guys that connects with me. So thank you for that.
Beautiful, thank you. You're very welcome. I'm grateful you brought the subject as well. So thank you for showing up and sharing your truth. Anyone else would like to comment?
Just very quickly, can you just have a look and see if anybody can have a look and see if you can open the doc? Trudy can't open it, but I can. So I just want to find out if there's a problem with that.
Where exactly is it? Where did you put it?
It's in the chat. It's in the chat.
In the chat.
Yep.
Yeah, because I downloaded it and then I went to open it and it said it doesn't exist.
I don't see it in the chat. It's really weird. I don't see those.
I don't see it in the chat
documents
either.
I can see it in the chat, but because I'm in the mountains, I don't know if I can open it, and I don't want to do something.
Okay. Rosie, you're muted.
Some would say that's a blessing. That's my husband's always grateful when I'm muted. I'll tell you. Yeah, when it says click to open, it's opened up. Will it? So it's now in my downloads. So it'll open up anytime from my download.
Trudy, just try right clicking on the link rather than downloading it. Just see if it'll open there, and then you can save it once it's opened.
See the link. I don't have a link in the chat.
Go back up. It's at
Are you talking
12.
about the Zoom chat?
Yeah, 10:12 it was posted.
I don't have it either. It's not there.
How weird. Wolfgang, have you got it? Is it in your chat?
It's there, but I also cannot open it.
You can't open it. Okay. So if you right click it, it doesn't work either. Don't you love technology? Why does it work in some places and not others?
Listen, this is a one. Can we all please tell Martin that it worked for me?
Yeah. Oh. All right. So so I'll send it privately to Trudy. Who else wanted a private copy? So Sammy, you haven't got it at all in your chat. Okay. Well, I'll send it via private message. And you wanted it as well, Callie?
Yes, please.
So Rosie, you've got it. Auntie, you've got it already.
Yeah, because it came up in the chat and I downloaded it, but then when I went to click it to open it, it just said that the file doesn't exist. So I downloaded it. Now it won't let me go anywhere else. But anyway.
Right. Okay.
How am I meant to have it today?
Okay. I'll send it privately to everybody. So yeah, I've just clicked on it. Right clicked on in the chat, and it just opened up straight away. So it was,
perhaps I need it more than the rest of you. Perhaps that's why I've got it.
So would anyone else like to share on what they're grateful for their connection? Just to finish with a joyful great gratitude for personal connection?
I want to. I was in my 30s. I had 2 little boys, as well as most of you know. One of them was Martin, or is Martin, but he's a big boy now. And I always look, because I'm the youngest of 5. I always looked. My mum had died, so I couldn't go to my mum. My mother-in-law was a lovely lady, but they're your children. You get on with them. So I was always looking at the way my sisters had brought, and my sister-in-law had brought their children up. And I think Martin was about 6 or 7, and a light came on. And I've always been grateful for that light that told me I was me. These were my boys, and there was nothing wrong with me bringing them up the way I was bringing them up. I loved them, looked after them, I cared for them. But because I couldn't get on the floor and I don't know whether you did it around the rest of the world, but we used to do potato painting. Now, to me, that was the most boring thing ever. Do you know what I mean? I'd rather be out on the bikes and playing football with my dogs and my boys, but to sit and do so. But you see, my sisters could do that. They could make fancy little cutouts and paint them and everything. And I used to think there was something wrong with me. And then a light came on. No, Rosa, there's nothing wrong with you. You just do different things to them and you accept different things. And since then, I think that's when I started to realize and that's what I'm grateful for, that there is nothing wrong with me. Just because I don't follow everybody else doesn't make me an inferior person or a bad person, or if it's right for me, then that's the way I should go. So I've always been grateful for that. Took a few years, but I got there.
Beautiful. Thank you. That's powerful. Wolfgang?
Yeah, thank you, Rosa, for sharing that. There are so many things I'm grateful for, but what it really brought it down was we had a wonderful mother who was actually going for her dreams, for her things. She made a lot of things different than people around. And from my perspective, she was a genius. And I think that was really something what put myself from home in a position of accepting myself and actually taking the risk to go a different path. And actually that I'm grateful to myself being so open to go in some places where other people are not going, which is bringing me into exciting experiences and to excited people. And I just, I disconnect easily to go somewhere where my heart feels like go there. So not to be stuck too much. So that's what I'm grateful for.
Thank you. Beautiful. Can really feel that. Beautiful. And anyone else wish to share to honor their gratitude for their connection? Anyone else? Trudy or? No?
One little sentence. My mother died 9 years ago, and I have the feeling she's more over the place than she ever was before.
I love that. Yeah, energy, it's all energy. For me, I think my gratitude was when I finally learned to connect to myself. And then in the last year, I've really come to not only love and accept myself, but to accept every part of me, the good and the bad, however you want to label that, and not get caught up with my behavior and go, oh my God, I'm a stupid person, or I'm a this, or I'm a that, or whatever. Just to say, oh, that part has come out to play today. And that's okay. And to be in that space, to have that connection with myself is possibly the best gift in the world.
Thank you. Beautiful. And for me, mine is the connection to my gratitude for being born. because even in all of my childhood when I was bullied, even with my parents bullying me as a little child, and then growing up and being bullied at school and in high school, like all of that has made me who I am. And I'm just so grateful because especially in the last 10 years since I started spiritual work, and if I hadn't have been born, I wouldn't have met the spiritual avatars I've met in the Himalayas. Like I wouldn't have got to travel the world and go to so many places and perform as an angel for peace, for world peace for 7 years. Like I wouldn't have got to do those things without being born. So I'm just grateful for my family connection that gave me this life. Like that's how grateful I am. And I even wrote my parents a letter thanking them for giving birth to me. So that's how much I value my connection to being born to experience what I've been gifted. Even now I'm older, like I'm just now in that spiritual gift. And yeah, so I'm very grateful. So we've got to time. We've got a minute left if anyone wishes to share anything further, or we can finish here. Anyone else wish to say anything?
Thank you for hosting this, Callie. I think you did
Yes,
an
thank you.
awesome job.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Callie.
Thank you, Sammy. And we're definitely here for you if you do need any of us at all. You can just send a message and I'm definitely happy to connect with you anytime.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Alrighty, thank you everyone, wherever you are in the world. Have a good evening, morning.
Thank you, Callie. See you on the Gold Star call.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank
See you
you.
all
Thank
next
you.
week.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.